Okay, next question. Why did you choose your career?
Okay, that's an interesting story, and it has to do with my mission, actually. When I was on my mission, the first place they sent us to was a place in Saskatchewan. And some of you may not even have heard of Saskatchewan, but it's a province in Canada on the east side of Alberta, and it is flat as a pancake. I mean, you can stand on top of a tin can and see the back of your head. See a dog coming for 3 days. I mean, it was horrible. And it was all farming community, which I couldn't even begin to understand how those farmers were thinking. But anyway, during the time that I was there, it just so happened that a movie called Chariot of the Gods came on, and it was wildly popular up in Canada. It was so popular in Canada, not so much down here, but up in Canada, they played it 5 times in 3 months, and that was before cable TV and all that stuff. So they only had the 3 channels up there, and they brought it back 5 times in those 3 months. And anyway, the whole premise of the Chariot of the Gods is that somebody from outer space came and told us how to build the pyramids, how to build all these amazing things that we don't understand in the world, and that's how the knowledge was passed on. It was from an alien race. So that was really cool, and that was cool by itself. But as we knocked on doors, and we did a lot of tracking, as we knocked on doors, people would say, "Oh, you're the Mormons. Don't you guys have the Book of Mormon and about what happened in the Central and South America?" And anyway, come on in. I want to talk to you about it because we just saw Chariot of the Gods, and what do you think? And, man, every door we'd go to, because when we tracked it, everybody had a Book of Mormon, all these people, but they'd never read it, only just a little bit, so they knew a little bit. And so we were able to explain what we believed because of that movie. And I was completely blown away by the effect that movie had on thousands of people. And my companion and I happened to be over at our branch president's house, and he had this book called Trial of the Stick of Joseph, and it was something that they had bought from somewhere, and it was a bishop in California who had gone down to Central and South America and taken a whole bunch of pictures and came up with this Trial of the Stick of Joseph, and you could buy the slides that he had taken. And so here we are in our mission. So I ordered the slides, and they came, and my companion and I put a slide presentation together showing how the Chariot of the Gods applied to the Book of Mormon. And of course, it wasn't too good in the beginning, but oh my gosh, I was showing that slide presentation like every 3 days, and then I got transferred to Lethbridge, and I was showing it there. That was a university ward that I was in, and usually they only put the real smart elders in the university branches. At least that's what they told us in our mission, and they probably put me there because I was doing that slide presentation. So I was doing the slide presentation. And then they transferred me to Calgary, which was the capital of, I think it's the capital of Alberta. Anyway, big city. That's where the mission home was. I went into the mission home. I wasn't an assistant to the president, but they gave me a job there I could do so that I could do these slide presentations every 3 days. It seemed like. So I had lots of different companions was doing it, and I could do it in my sleep. It was just, I'd done it so many times. And by that time, I'd filled it full of jokes and made it real interesting. So it was a lot more fun for people to listen to. And then all of a sudden, this one elder who I'd never met before comes up to me and says, "Hey, we want to do a big show. We want to invite the whole city to a stake center and have you and this guy who was a stake president at the time. His name was Teddy Brewerton, and he later became a General Authority 70. But at the time, he was the stake president, and he happened to be a mission president in Central America, where some of the things that we were talking about in these slide presentations had actually taken place. And so he had a very scholarly presentation on the Book of Mormon and archaeology. But the thing he had that was the most amazing, and still to me it's amazing to this day, I even have a copy of it myself. But when when the Spaniards came over to Central and South America, they couldn't understand why the indigenous people had legends and beliefs that were very similar to Christianity. And so instead of thinking, wow, that's cool, they thought it was from the devil, and they burned all of the books that the indigenous peoples had. And when that was all over, they only had 5 books left. And one of the books that was left was the book that state president Teddy Burton had a copy of. He didn't have the original, but he had a copy. And he had a copy of the translation of it. And in there was a line like this. I mean, this is just this was the most amazing line that was in there. We have come, the indigenous peoples are talking about themselves. We have come from a place called Pactelan de Sivan, the confines of Babylonia. No, sorry, I didn't say that exactly right. It's been a long time. We have come from whence the sun rises, a place called Pactelan de Sivan, the confines of Babylonia. Whoa, that blew me away because, the Book of Mormon peoples came from across the ocean. So, anyway, he had that. Well, he did his presentation and put everybody to sleep. Oh, wait, I got to say, they put on this big thing, and 5,000 people came to the Calgary Stake Center that night. He'd advertised on TV and radio. This elder was amazing. I hope he went on to be a Wall Street advertising executive or something because he was so good. But all these people came, and one of the people that came that night was he was a reporter for the Calgary Herald. And the Calgary Herald is the biggest paper in Western Canada at the time. And it was really big because, again, this is before the internet. This is before newspapers were the biggest thing for news, for everything. So anyway, there was a reporter there. I didn't know what I was doing, but he sought me out, and he asked me a whole bunch of questions. And I didn't think anything would happen of it because that usually doesn't. So, but the next Sunday, the newspaper had a religion section, and my presentation, not President Burton's, my presentation was the whole face of the religion section in the newspaper. So my presentation, there are different slides that he had copies of, and then he had this article about what I had said. And he actually did a good job. He didn't make it sound like I was being weird. He at the very end, he said, and this youthful elder, Clark, said, this doesn't prove that the Book of Mormon's true, but it certainly makes you think about it. And that's all I was trying to do. So, awesome. So, as you can imagine, having an experience like that, I just was completely blown away that the way to reach people was through the media. So when I came off my mission, I was higher than a kite, and I was going to be the Spielberg before there was a Spielberg. I was going to go to California and come up through the ranks until I was a director for Hollywood movies. And I actually went to California one time, and I started asking around and looking at what the people were doing who were doing that very thing I was trying to do. And I decided I wasn't going to put my family through that. And it was really hard. And lots of dead bodies on the way. So I decided to make films for businesses, and that way I could stay home. And that's what I did. And that's how I chose it.
It's really cool, Dad. I didn't know a lot of that. When did you go to California?
Huh?
When did you go to California?
I went to California in, would have been 1974.
Okay, way before I was born.
Oh yeah, way before you were born.
Okay. Before Ryan was born.
Yeah, I was before I was married.
Okay. That's